Welcome. It is that day again. It is Friday, and that means that we have Thursday thrashing on Friday. Man, I see everybody scurrying into the room. Remember, man, either take your shoes off or wipe them off at the door. You're all invited in, bro. Friends, foes, who cares, bro? This is an open house. And the only rule in the house is we all remain respectful. Because if we don't respect the host, if we don't respect each other, bro, you're going to be ignored anyway. And you're going to show everybody in this chat what an immature mark you are. So if that's your goal, have at it. But if you want to become a part of this intelligent conversation where we dig deep, you know how to do that, bro. You do that through a super sticker or a donation. Why, Vince, you ask? Why? Well, the answer to that is simple. I am working. This is how I make a living. I've been doing Russo's brand for a decade now. And thanks to all my supporters and all my subscribers, I never, ever had to go back into the mainstream wrestling business, which I am very thankful for. You know, bro, people think I'm kidding when I say, and I think any wrestler will tell you this, and I think anybody who spent any time in the wrestling business will tell you this. If you happen to work in the business, bro, I'm not talking about being one of these dirt sheet, mamby-pamby, sissy Mary, girly man writers or podcasters. I'm not talking about that. They've never been in the business. They're literally washwoman. I'm talking about, man, if you've been in the trenches, I think anybody who's been there will admit it literally takes years off of your life. I mean, there is no question about that. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it takes years off of your life. And that's why, even though the topic of this conversation is going to be about Triple H, I kind of feel bad for Hunter, Paul, whatever you want to call him. I really do. First of all, let me say, I worked with Paul for about 5 years, and it was nothing but pleasurable. He was always very respectful to me. We worked very closely together. We did a lot of things together. And my time working with Triple H, I really, really, really enjoyed. Now, you got to remember, that was before Triple H married Stephanie. And I never worked with that Triple H. So I never worked with a Triple H with power, who was in control of a lot of lives, running the creative. I never worked with that guy. And the reality is, power and money can affect people. So I can't judge Paul Levesque today because I have not had a conversation with the man in 26 years. But the guy I worked with was very pleasant. And listen, man, make no bones about it. I know he didn't want me to come back to the company in 2002 because him and Stephanie wanted all the power. I don't have a problem with that, man. If I had a job in creative in a wrestling company, man, I wouldn't want Vince Russo coming back to that company either. Because if Vince Russo comes back to that company, there's no need for you. So I totally get that, and I have no problem with it. And that's why, man, I really do feel bad for Triple H, because I know The dude's got to be under an enormous amount of stress. And it's not only wearing so many hats in a wrestling company, not only now there are other people he has to report to. Who knows what the political climate is over there at the WWE? Who knows what Triple H's relationship is with The Rock? Who knows if there's any jockeying for position? Who knows what Triple H's relationship is with Vince McMahon? And keep in mind, Stephanie is right in the middle of that. On top of that, bro, the guy's got a heart condition. So he's dealing with all of this, and the guy has a heart condition, bro. I would be concerned for my life, and I am not exaggerating. Bro, I went to the Giants-Rockies game yesterday with my 94-year-old dad. And towards the end of the game, we jimmied down 2 seats right behind the dugout. Well, bro, right in front of my very eyes, right behind it, actually it was home plate. It wasn't the dugout. Right behind home plate, I saw the Giants blow a 2-run lead in the 9th inning. Bro, I swear, my father's got about 12 stints. I thought my dad was going to have a heart attack. And I was very, very concerned with him. As soon as they blew the lead and Arcia got that base hit, I pulled him out of there. I didn't even want him to see the celebration on the field. And I was truly concerned about his heart. Bro, I swear to God, as somebody who knew Triple H and thought very highly of him, I am very concerned about his health and the stressful situation he finds himself in. So I want to get all of that out on the table, bro. That is a shoot. I care what happens to this man. And if something bad were to happen to Triple H, God forbid, it would really affect me. It really, really would, because the guy that I knew was a sweetheart of a guy. And I know, regardless, deep down inside, he's still a sweetheart of a guy. I know that. And that's why I do these shows sometimes wrapped around Triple H. Because honestly, bro, it's not so much criticizing him or ripping him or slandering him, or it's none of that. Honestly, bro, it's to help him. It's to help make his life easier. And there was another incident on Saturday night where I find myself asking myself just simply, why, Hunter? Why? Why do you make this 10 times more harder on yourself? Why? I am trying to be the voice of reason to try to help you if I possibly can. Before we get into that, guys, we see got a couple super stickers. I'm going to keep going to them throughout the show. CPB Station, my boy, man. He's always the first guy. Happy Friday, brother. Mr. Levesque is at it again. This dude tries to spin anything to make himself look like a mastermind. Triple Mark Max back pedal. We're going to get into that, CPB. Danimal. Great name. Great wrestling name. Happy Friday. One of my favorite Raws was the one where Motley Crue performed. Can you give us any memories of that night? I was 11 during that time. I can tell you this, bro. I will never forget this about that night. Sean Waltman was a huge Motley Crue mark. And bro, he was so excited and so thankful that we worked out getting Motley Crue on Raw. And if you see Sean Waltman jamming out with Motley Crue, bro, that dude is in all his glory. And that always meant a lot to me, bro, how happy Sean was that night. I'll never forget that. Instagram, what's up? You got Desmond Wolf name from the nail from With Nail and I? Well, to answer your question, a wrestling historian, I have no idea what With Nail and I is. I have no idea what that is. So I came up with the name because I just thought it was a cool name. But I have no idea what that is. So, guys, we're all familiar now with the R-Truth situation. And guys, again, let me say this. I am a fan of R-Truth. I got to work with R-Truth at TNA. Just an extraordinary human being. The only thing Jerry Jarrett and myself ever agreed on was making Ron Killings the NWA champion. That's the only thing we ever agreed on, and that's how highly the both of us thought of Ron Killings. Ronald Jackson, you ruined my life. Now I can't watch WCW. Well, sorry about that, man. Robert Rose, did you see how Triple H sold you a finger point of doom by posting a picture of him and R-Truth on Monday? Yes, I did, and it popped me. Heedish Kalan went Raw O2 Arena. People were 50% Cena, 20% Punk, 20% Jay, 10% other. Cody's there to do media interviews. Triple H doing opposite of Vince 80s expands, IWC, NXT. Love got to Triple H's head. He's lost his marbles, says my friend Hatish. So I'm a fan of the truth. Will always be a fan of the truth. But when I looked at the situation and the WWE not renewing Truth's contract, to me, it made all the business sense in the world. Truth was making a lot of money. The reality of the situation is Truth is 53 years old. So you've got to ask yourself, well, at this point, how much is his value? They weren't doing anything with Truth to begin with other than comedy scenes that went nowhere. So to me, it was a smart business decision. You know, you want to shine up that bottom line, man. And, baseball players, bro, they play into their 40s and then it's just the end of the road. Now, if it were me, without a doubt, I would have offered Truth another role with the company. I know the dude's got so much to offer, and maybe they did that. I'm not on the phone, bro, trying to get gossip all day long. My time is more valuable than that. Maybe they did that. I don't know. But I would have tried to keep him on for less money in another role in the company. But as far as not renewing his contract, I thought that was a solid business decision. Enter the Marks. The Marks throw a hissy fit because that is what Marks do. And if you ask me, why did the Marks throw a hissy fit? It's simple, bro. They're Marks. Marks throw hissy fits. When something happens they don't like, they throw a hissy fit. When they don't get their way, they throw a hissy fit. And, bro, they were throwing hissy fits when I was writing. A mark is a mark is a mark is a mark, bro. The only problem is I ignored them. I ignored them, bro, because I knew they're going to watch the show anyway, bro. They can bitch, moan, and complain all they want. They're going to watch the show anyway. This is what they do. They've got nothing else in their lives but wrestling. I've got to go after the casual fan audience. That's who I got to go get. So I completely ignored the mamby-pamby, sissy Mary, girly man Marks. Ronald Jackson, thank you very much. R-Truth ain't no Booker T. Bro, they're completely, I think that's apples and oranges, bro. I don't think R-Truth is trying to be Booker T in any way, shape, or form. Guys, again, come on in. You want to be a part of this conversation, super stickers and donations, man. That's how we're going to do it. I will answer any question. I will put your comments and your thoughts up on the screen. So I thought it was a sound business decision, man. The Marks cried, the Marks bellyached. Now, guys, I'm telling you, based on my assessment, AAA, it's very important for Triple H to be beloved by the Marks. It's important to him, bro. He has showed us that time and time and time again. We clearly saw that at WrestleMania when, Joe Henry came out to wrestle Randy Orton. Every casual fan watching WrestleMania basically said, who's this guy? Nobody knew who Joe Henry was as a casual fan, but the Marks went crazy. And that's what Triple H wants to do. He wants to please the Marks so they hold him high above a pedestal. Their exceptions is important to him. I don't know why. I don't know why their opinion is so important to him. I don't know why. You would have to ask him. Luis Martinez. Flair recently said, screw everyone that he makes $3 million a year and has spent more money on I think it was Spilt, I think it was. Is that okay? I thought that said split. Okay, so yeah, you're right. Sorry, Luis. Spilt liquor than what people make in a lifetime. Well, that's Ric Flair being Ric Flair, man. Johnny Karate. WWE is the parent who enables bratty, bad behavior. Yes, and Triple H is the daddy, Johnny. Triple H is the daddy. So now there's a backlash with Ron Killings being let go. And the next thing we know, there's Ron Killings re-signed at Money in the Bank. Now, bro, that in itself is a huge problem because when you start giving the Marks their way, they're going to expect their way every time. And they're not going to stop until they get their way. Bro, what is Triple H going to do if they start booing Nikki Bella because, in their opinion, she can't wrestle? Is Triple H going to fire Nikki Bella? Once you give into the Marks, bro, you are opening up a Pandora's box, and they're going to expect you to do what they want you to do. You're going to be the puppet. Triple H is going to be the puppet, man, and as Jerry Jarry used to say, the Marks are going to be the puppet master. Hatish. HHH despised Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, IWC, NXT. Love got him high. I got love for sale, and my love will not fail you. Whoa, no. Guys, if you tell me what band sang that song, I will shout you out, even without leaving a donation. I got love for sale, bro. Tell me what band sang that, and I'll give you a shout out. So, Triple H kowtows to the Marks, brings back the truth. Okay, fine. Let's go on to the next cardinal sin, which is the biggest cardinal sin. Guys, you could say whatever you want about me. Love Machine just said kiss. Buddy Lee had a little follow-up. Good job, guys. So Triple H has his little scrum, which he has to sit front and center and take in all the love from the Marks. That's another ridiculous thing, the scrum. Absolutely ridiculous. And somebody asks him about R-Truth. And bro, Triple H says it's all part of the show. So what Triple H was insinuating was it was all a work. Now, here's where Triple H isn't thinking this through. Because if it was indeed a work, then I got to be honest with you, Trips. You're less intelligent than I actually thought you were. If it was a work, I'm going to put it bluntly. If it was a work, you're stupider than I thought you were. And I will tell you why. Man, we got a lot of super stickers, and I don't want to miss anybody. Wayne, how you doing, Wayne? There is nothing creative or compelling going on in WWE. I'm going to keep saying Triple H should not be in this role. A change is needed. Agreed 1,000%, Wayne. And it's not personal. It's performance-based. Luis, Mets in the World Series. Queens would need it. We got to see what happens with this pitching, bro. We got to see what happens with this pitching. Senga's going to be down a little while now. I don't like that, bro. Abel Musa, on point Russo. I stopped watching because I realized that marks will turn on anyone, even their darling indies. They just want to get themselves over. Abel, 1,000%. B-ball. At this point, Paul Levesque may sign some random from MLW to please the marks. You guys get this. You guys know what I'm saying and where I'm coming from. Okay, guys, so he's stupider than I thought because here's number one, bro. How did you guys not know there wasn't going to be a backlash and an outcry from the marks? You had to know this before you made the decision. You had to know that R-Truth was beloved, and if you didn't renew his contract, they were going to cry. They were going to carry on like marks. You had to know that. You had to know that. If you don't know that, then you don't know your freaking audience. Because marks don't understand business, bro. They never understand business. So if you didn't know that, you don't know your audience. So I'm assuming you knew that. I'm assuming you knew that these marks were going to cry, carry on, and Quebec. I'm assuming that. But you do it anyway because that's the business decision you made. But no, man. Triple H's reputation cannot be tarnished, and we need to bring the dude back. So, bro, think about this. Ron Killings comes back, and Ron Killings cuts his own hair. Now, bro, if you recall, Ron Killings just lost a match for the heavyweight title against his good friend, John Cena, who is supposed to be a heel. So if you want to get heat on Cena, bro, then wouldn't Cena or shouldn't Cena have been the one to cut Ron Killings' hair? That's how you get heat on Cena, bro. To beat up and then humiliate his old friend. But the fact that Ron Killings cuts his hair after that tells me without a shadow of a doubt, this was not a work. Ron Killings has said himself on social media, this was not a work. As a matter of fact, rumor has it that Ron Killings was so pissed off, he wasn't even getting back to the WWE when they were trying to recontact him. It took a call from Nick Khan to get Truth to have a conversation. That's how pissed Truth was. So for Triple H to go out there and say it's all part of the show, bro, why are you lying? Why are you lying? What is the need to lie, bro? I don't understand that, Triple H, because, Hunter, all you're doing is you're insulting the intelligence of the fan base. And I'm talking the casual fans. The marks have a very low intelligence. We don't have to worry about that, bro. They're Pavlovian dogs. They're going to do whatever you tell them to do. But when you're trying to get this over to a casual fan base and you make the comment, it's all part of the show, then you're an idiot, bro. Seriously. If this were a work, the way you played this out, you were an idiot because you would have had Cena cut his hair to get heat on the heel. A freaking 12-year-old knows that, bro. So the reality of the situation is he lied because it was a shoot. It wasn't a work. And my question to Triple H would be, why, bro? Why wouldn't you say, you know what? We made a mistake. We were looking at business. And for a second, we forgot our beloved fan base. And we forgot how valuable Ron Killings was to this company. So we brought him back. We made a mistake. What in God's name is wrong with saying that? I swear, this is what somebody needs to ask Triple H at the scrum. Brother, you lied to us. It was a shoot. It wasn't a work. If it was a work, then you should not be the booker the way you booked this, okay? So let's assume it was a shoot because it was a shoot. Why didn't you just tell the truth, bro? Why didn't you just say, you know, we had second thoughts, man? Clap Douglas. Luna putting ornaments on the artist formerly known as Goldust dressed as a tree while he read the night before Christmas was peak entertainment. Yes, you just popped me. Clap. And I got to tell you, just to be straight, Clap, she was not directed to do that. She did that all on her own. That was the absolute genius of Luna Vachon. Guys, I want to remind you before I go on, man, you get this kind of straight talk every freaking day at russosbrand.com. And if you've never been a brand member, if you've never been a Patreon member, bro, you can go to patreon.com/Russo TWC right now and get a free week of the brand. Bro, that is the problem in professional wrestling. And that is why I am blackballed. And that is why I am on the outside looking in, and I am totally happy being here. I am totally happy being in this spot. People can't tell the truth. They just can't tell the truth. There really is a honesty. I mean, there really is a problem and an issue with honesty in wrestling. Bro, I think it makes the WWE look even better when they say we made a mistake. We were looking at dollars and cents. We were looking at business, and we took the human being out of it. We forgot for a second what our truth meant to this company. And you guys reminded us of that. What is wrong with that, bro? Can Triple H, what is wrong with that? Why do you got to insult my intelligence? I swear to God, bro, the truth is the last thing people tell in professional wrestling. It's the last thing they tell, the truth. And man, the truth, 9 times out of 10, you will come out in a better place by telling the truth. Now, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. Telling the truth hurt me in the wrestling business. Because when you're telling the truth in a sea infested with liars, it's not going to work out well for you. And you know what, man? I got no problem with that. I got no problem with that. I got to look myself in the mirror every day, bro. I got to look my family in the eye every day. I got to wake up next to my wife. I got to talk to my kids. They're not going to talk to a liar. Period. So Triple H, seriously, guys, ask him on social media. Ask him on social media. Bro, we know it was a shoot. Why didn't you just tell the truth? Why did you have to insult your intelligence? Bro, the worst thing you could do to a wrestling fan is insult their intelligence. Absolute worst thing you could do, bro, because you're telling them you are stupid and you will believe anything I tell you. That is what you are telling them. And that is the worst thing you can do to your audience, bro. And any writer knows that. Any writer knows that. All right, guys, I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. Any more super stickers or donations? Now is the time. I want to remind everybody, bro, I dropped a brand new Vince Russo Before My Head Explodes. Wherever you get all your podcasts, it is free. I dropped a brand new one at midnight last night, guys. Check it out. You can listen to that. Also, remember, guys, patreon.com/Russo TWC. Get your free week of the brand. I'm going to hit the music, and then I know there's going to be a super sticker. That is it, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me, man. Guys, always tell the freaking truth. Always tell the freaking truth. Sometimes consequences will come with telling the truth, but telling the truth will always make you a better person. Juan Milan! TKO running WWE at the same time. Triple H looks even more foolish because he'll end up getting canned sooner rather than later. I've said that, Juan. I don't think Triple H is going to be around that long. It all depends on The Rock. It all depends on Vince McMahon. And I think a lot of it is out of Triple H's hands. That's it, everybody. I got to go spend time with my dad. He's leaving today. God bless you all, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the super stickers. I'll be back here, bro, next Friday. Patreon.com/Russo TWC. Hold on, Luis. Greatest batter you have ever seen besides Bonds. Man, that is so hard, Luis. Tony Gwynn? Does Tony Gwynn work for you? All right, guys, I think that's the last one. I'm signing off. It is now or never. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend.